Hi guys, welcome back to another cook along with me, Ben, here at Inoxdine. I hope you enjoyed last week's cook along. Today we're going to be doing a bean and chorizo taco, a very easy, simple dish that will fit nicely with what you can achieve at home. So just touching on some of the things you'll get in your ingredients pack, you will have a recipe card with the ingredients in there that are all weighed out for you in little backpack bags. You'll get those. You'll also have an equipment list in there with what you need for the class. If you just get everything together before you start the class, and obviously get everything out your packets and into little pots if you have pots at home, not to worry if you don't, and we'll just get straight into it. So to start off with, I'm going to make our salsa. So to start off, we're going to do our chopping of the spring onions. So to start off with, we're just going to peel the first layer of that spring onion off. Pop that bit into the bin. Sometimes, like, spring onions are grown in sand, so they can be quite gritty. So if you just want to slice it straight up, right the way up to the top of the spring onion. Be careful with this part. All the way up. And all we're going to do is just give that a quick wash out, because there might be some great grains of sand in there. I'll just give that a quick wash. Once that's all clean, we're just going to top it, take that root end off, and we're just going to chop this nice and finely. And it's just going to go into our salsa bowl. Try not to use as much as the green at the top, because that can be quite bitter. Just want that nice green, lovely bright green stuff at the bottom. Take your time with these knife skills. Just want to get them as finely as you possibly can. That bit there can just go and pop in the bin. So that's one part of our spring onion. Next, we're just going to chop our tomatoes. I'm just going to chop them into quarters. So in half and in half again. So you get 4. Chop all those up, and then I'm just going to go in with the spring onions. Quite a simple salsa, to be honest. Quite a chunky one. In with the spring onions. And finally, we're just going to pour all our sweet corn in there. Give it half of our lime. We're just going to squeeze that over. Get all that juice in there. Nice pinch of salt in there. And all we're going to do is give that a nice mix up. And that is our nice chunky salsa. So next we're going to make our garlic mayonnaise. So for this you need your garlic cloves and your mayonnaise. So similar to last week, if you tuned in, what we're going to do here is flat side on the garlic, one firm push down, and we're just going to peel that garlic so you can get all that skin off. That's just going to pop into the bin. Obviously can't eat that bit, it's not pleasant to eat. For the garlic, we're going to make it into a garlic puree. So obviously last week, if you were here and tuned in, we actually grated the garlic, but this week we're actually going to make it into a puree using our knife. So both cloves of garlic, that cloved hand again, that claw, and just finely slice your garlic. Take your time, obviously moving your fingers back when you're slicing with the knife, so you don't chop into your fingers. As fine as you possibly can. Same with the other garlic. Once all your garlic's chopped like that, what we're going to do now is we're just going to use our seesaw motion with our hand on the knife, and we're just going to run through the garlic with the knife until we get like a finer result. Scraping down the back of the knife, obviously not away from the blade, not towards it, stopping you from cutting yourself. And once it's all finely sliced like that, we're just going to pop a little bit of salt onto the garlic, and that's going to bring out any of the moisture in the garlic and help us puree that down, almost a bit like how a pestle and mortar works really, with the grains of sand in your pestle and mortar. So just quickly run through that, again getting that salt incorporated into the garlic. And then at this point we're just going to use 2 fingers on the blade, and we're just going to, with the knife flat, we're just going to squish on that garlic, making it into a nice puree. So once you've got to that stage where it's pretty much all, you can't really see it anymore, we're just going to scoop it onto the knife. We're going to get our mayonnaise. We're just going to pour all the mayonnaise in to another bowl. I'm going to pop our garlic into the mayo. We don't need to season this because we already seasoned the garlic when we made it into a puree. So what you're going to do is give that a mix up. So all the garlic's incorporated in there. And that is our garlic mayonnaise. So next job, we're going to move on to the dicing of our chorizo. So for this, what you need to do is just make them into like little fingers. So we're just going to slice them into even chunks. Once you've got to that stage, just take the end pieces out. We'll use the flatter pieces first. So just going straight through into smaller fingers. And then lengthways again, and we're just going to make those into small little diced pieces. Nice little chunky pieces like that. So once you've got all your chorizo diced up nicely, we're just going to pop that back into a dish later on for when we come to make our chorizo crumb. That's our chorizo nicely diced. So next we're just going to drain our black beans and give them a rinse. And now we're going to start making our chorizo crumb. Just going to get a nice hot pan. Chorizo is going to go in. You get that nice and coloured off. This shouldn't take too long. It'll probably take a minute, 2 minutes max before we then add our breadcrumbs. So cooking it on quite high heat. Chorizo is coming down nicely. Once it's been cooking and frying for at least 1 to 2 minutes, we're then going to add our breadcrumbs. At which stage we're just going to toss them through, toast them off slightly. So all that breadcrumbs has soaked up that nice chorizo juice. get a bowl ready for your chorizo crumb to go into. And that is your chorizo crumb done. Straight off into a bowl, ready to use later as part of our garnish. Next we're going to move on to the cooking of our black beans. So for this you'll need your black beans, your soy, your cayenne pepper and your smoked paprika and your stock. So for this we're just going to toast our spices off first. So a bit of oil in there. Spices are getting toasted off. Once the spices are toasted off, we're just going to add our beans. Turn the heat down. Once the beans are there, we're just going to add our stock. At this point, we're just going to leave that to reduce now for about 5 or 6 minutes until there's no moisture left in that pan. If you have a lid, you can use a lid. Just kind of speeds up the process a little bit. But we're just going to leave that now for 5 or 6 minutes just to bring that liquid down so we can make it into a puree. And we'll finish it off with our soy. So once we're at this stage, guys, and you can see some of the bubbles coming through, we're just going to add our soy in there as our seasoning. Just give that a mix through. The remainder of that will come down a little bit more. So all we're going to do now, guys, we're just going to mash that into a puree. We're just going to use the masher. We're just going to push it down till we get some form of puree. Should be able to smell the veg stock coming through and the soy. You can keep a little bit of texture in there as well. Don't puree it down too far that you've lost the texture of the beans. Just pureeing it down until you've got a form of like mash, I suppose. That's about good for me. So all I'm going to do now is just scoop that bean puree / bean mash into a bowl ready for serving up. So once that's done, guys, we're just going to move on to the toasting of our tortilla wraps. And they're going to go in the oven at 200 degrees for about a minute and a half just to warm them through and they've lightly toasted. Right guys, so now they've been in the oven for 1.5 minutes, we're going to now plate up. So take your taco shell, you're going to nice generous scoop of the garlic mayonnaise. I'm just going to smother that over the taco shell. Next we're then going to fill it with our bean puree. So a nice big spoonful of that. Just mix that over in a nice long shape so that when you fold the taco up it folds evenly over. Next, a nice generous scoop of our salsa over our bean tacos, over our bean mash. Next, we have our chorizo crumb. And all we're going to do to finish it off is a nice squeeze of lime juice over the top. And that is your bean and chorizo taco. You have 3 tacos, which is more than enough. I hope you guys enjoy the recipe, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.